coalition led by the Virginia Institute for Public Policy, Middle Resolution. We call it the Virginia Education Opportunity Alliance, along with our friends at Americans for Prosperity. And they've got a new state director, and he's on the phone with us, C.J. Saylor. First off, C.J., quote, congratulations, question mark? No, congratulations on taking the big chair for the Virginia State Americans for Prosperity. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, Joe. Happy Friday to you and your listeners. Thank you for having me. Great this morning. Really good. It's Friday, so we're going into the weekend. That's always good.
So, CJ, give us a feel for the event yesterday in Richmond. We've got more of them coming up as we continue to sell the idea of money follows the child's school choice. We have to sell the idea of choice in America. Is kind of depressing in the first place, but we'll get over it. So how did it go last night in Richmond?
Really, really great. But Joe, before I get started, I just want to take a moment and give my prayers and thoughts to the families and the friends and neighbors of UVA who lost the young man over the weekend, and then also those that are still recovering. Continued prayers up for them and their families. I know it's a tragic loss there for the community of Charlottesville. Amen. But want them all to know that our prayers and thoughts are with them.
Absolutely, and there's going to be a beautiful ceremony tomorrow at the John Paul Jones Arena for them, and and I mentioned this as well. It's tragedies like this that befall communities all over the place. We're watching this horrific situation in Idaho as well, and we've got to get ourselves right. So that we can be self-governing again. What did John Adams say about a moral society? And I think there's a list of rules that says thou shalt not murder somewhere on it. We got to dust it off there. CJ, well said. So catch us up on the event from yesterday.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Joe, for having me. Yeah, awesome event in Colonial Heights. About 20 minutes outside of Richmond City here. We had a packed house, over 100+ concerned parents who are really looking to advance the ball on educational freedom and educational options here in Virginia coming up in the General Assembly in 2023, which is going to be something we're going to be fighting tooth and nail for. We were honored to have Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears speak on what we're calling a education emergency here in Virginia. We need all hands on deck. If you have any children or family members or know of children that are in schools that are just not performing and they want a way out, they want opportunity, they want options, the Virginia Success Accounts is what we're calling them, the ESAs, Educational Savings Accounts, is their way out. We're looking to push this in the General Assembly coming up here in January. We're looking to get all hands on deck, community leaders, activists, those who care about education, no matter your background, no matter your skin color, no matter where you are in life. Education is something that's important to us over at AFP. And, one of our mottos is that we will work with anybody to do good. So no matter your background, your political philosophy, if you believe in freedom, and especially educational freedom, we'd love for you to join our fight for freedom to save our children.
So, CJ, I want to ask you, about that, and bring in your first statement, which is so well said about address these economic issues and these societal issues that lead a kid to get picked on because he's smart. Again, no excuse, but it's a reality in so many poor communities that kids that try to achieve academically are ostracized and often, threatened physically.
Yeah, Joe, you're absolutely right. You mentioned I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and I'm a lovely resident of Virginia. I grew up in a area that was crime-ridden, gang violence, and I had the opportunity to attend the school outside of my district. I tell you, Joe, had I not had that opportunity, that freedom to attend a better school and a better environment and better district in Detroit, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And I'm blessed to have this opportunity because my parents gave me that opportunity to attend a better school that was thriving and better prepared students for educational outcomes. So I know this on a personal level. on why it's so important that we get every community leader, every resident, every person that cares about education and our future joining us on our fight for the educational success account here in the General Assembly. The fact of the matter is that, education should empower students, to reach their full potential and have these unique potential throughout their lives, because, it looks different for each person and each family. Each student learns differently. So education should be individualized. And what we're finding is that there's this one approach that, we continue to throw money at the problem, continue to come up with these budgets that are taking it's taking more money out of taxpayers' pockets instead of giving options in education, such as our what we're calling our ESAs. We're starting this ESA chant. We said it last night, and we had a parent from Maryland attend the event because she heard about it. She said, if you guys get ESAs here, I'm going to move back to Virginia. And that's one more resident we can have here that can contribute to an economy. And so, it's desperate times. It's an education emergency here in Virginia. We're asking for all hands on deck to make sure we get these education savings accounts passed in the General Assembly.
CJ, can I hang on to you through the news? I've got to go to the news here at 7:30, but I'd like to hang on to you, talk about some of the upcoming events people can attend as well. Do you mind hanging on with us?
Sure. Thank you, Joe.
CJ Saylor, the new statewide director for Americans for Prosperity in Virginia. Great event yesterday with Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears in the Richmond area. And we were sort of taking the tragedies here, but also the story that came up very early out of Richmond, Richmond Times-Dispatch article from 2018 talking about the very young man who stands accused of these horrific acts here at UVA, overcoming the broken home and the poverty and the bullying in Petersburg, even to the point where Mark Warner was asked by a Petersburg reporter yesterday, can you say something nice about Petersburg, please? And he said, well, yeah, Governor Youngkin's trying, which I thought was stunning because he also said something nice about Governor Youngkin at the same time. But CJ, we talk about this, money follows the child's school choice. It is important to remind people that this isn't sort of self-busing, like get me out of my bad school district, like it was in the 70s, where the municipal government was doing it. These school choice programs actually wind up in abstract helping the public schools that remain behind, don't they?
Absolutely, Joe. And along with our partners from the Virginia Education Opportunity Alliance, we're really looking to get folks motivated and inspired around these educational savings accounts. And just for your listeners' knowledge, Joe, ESAs are special accounts managed by families that are used exclusively for the educational benefit of their child. Right. So through ESAs, families, they can access a portion of the funding that the state had allocated for their child, and they can use it to cover costs of several educational expenses, including tuition at a school of their choice. And so, when we look at outcomes and we look at solving the problems, which Americans for Prosperity is our mission, is to work with anybody to do good, to push back against bad policies. And at the end of the day, we want to help people thrive and reach their full potential, and that includes our children, which they're our future. So we're looking at this special piece of legislation that's going to go in to the General Assembly as a way to really lift these students out of poverty and give them some better educational outcomes. And ultimately, Joe, when we talk about education and we talk about crime, there's stats out there, several studies that shows that when you have a school district, no matter if you're in Charlottesville or if you're in Richmond City, it doesn't, crime doesn't have a zip code on it. That students that are thriving, the graduation rates are higher in K through 12, the crime is lower. So it's also a public safety issue when we look at outcomes for children and educational opportunities, you find that the crime is lowered in the area, and there's several statistics out there that support that. Another piece we found that's alarming, Joe, is that there's a public study out that 33% of parents, this is nationwide, feel that K through 12 public education has been a impediment on their family's progress with their children. Mm-hmm. So we got to look at some options in terms of solutions here, and that's why we're happy to partner with the Virginia Educational Opportunity Alliance, because it's going to take a sort of team, what I call a full blitz effort. I played football in high school, so we all know about a blitz, and that's when everyone comes. Yeah. And so we're going to need everybody in the community, everyone who want to join us who wants to see better educational outcomes for our children and freedom and more opportunity, join us. We'll love to have your help.
Until next weekend, for all of us here, my name is Joe Thomas. So long, and thanks for all the fish.